One of my coworkers recently found out about this channel. She said the tone of the stories gave it away, especially the way I mentioned cucarachas in one of them. She laughed, but then her expression changed. She hesitated for a second before saying, "You know, I had a weird experience back in high school." She grew up here, and when she was a teenager, there was an old farmhouse on the east side of town, past the shooting range. It was one of those places that everyone said was haunted, a popular spot for local teens to go exploring. One Friday night, my coworker and a group of friends decided to check it out. They piled into 2 cars. The driver of the first car had been there before, but no one else had. The trip felt longer than expected. Narrow roads, no streetlights, just endless farmland stretching into darkness. The mood in the second car was high energy, but my coworker couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. Maybe it was just the emptiness of the land, but something felt wrong. Then, after what felt like forever, the headlights of the first car lit up the farmhouse. My coworker swore it hadn't been there a second ago. The land out there is flat. There was nowhere for it to hide, but suddenly, it was just there. They got out. The house had no doors in the door frames, no glass in the windows, but it was in surprisingly good shape. No vandalism. Inside there was old furniture, plenty of dust, nothing remarkable. The others started poking around, but my coworker's unease grew into outright dread. No one else seemed to feel it. Finally, she decided to wait in the car. Back in the car, the feeling lifted, but only a little. She just wanted to leave. Eventually, everyone returned. No ghosts, just an old house. The group decided to head back to town for late-night fast food. The first car pulled out as my coworker heard a knock on the front passenger window. It was Andy, one of their friends. Andy had ridden in the first car, but he'd stayed in the house too long and missed his ride. He asked if he could squeeze in. Everyone shifted to make space, and he climbed in the back. The ride back was uncomfortable, but my coworker didn't care. She was just glad to be gone. When they arrived back in town, they got out to stretch while waiting for the first car. A few minutes later, it pulled in. People piled out, and so did Andy. My coworker froze. She had just been sitting next to Andy. But when she turned around, he was gone. Confused, she asked how Andy could have arrived in the other car when he had ridden back with them. The people from her car looked at her like she was crazy. Andy never rode with us, they said. They had no idea what she was talking about. She ran over to Andy, still feeling disoriented. "Which car did you ride in?" she asked. He pointed to the first car, the one she hadn't been in. No one believed her. They laughed it off, assuming she was trying to be funny, but she knew Andy had been in the car with her. She knew it. Stories like this are why I started the channel. The feeling of something being off, the eerie, unexplained moments that stay with you long after they happen. If you have a story like this, I'd love to hear it. I'm working on a way for listeners to submit their own experiences to the channel, and I'll be sharing details soon.